what happens when you meet a self-empowered woman? Well, for one, she is a person who has a whole inner child, and that means we don't project. And you have low self-esteem, we have what are called functional adult conversations. So we don't waste our time with people who do not want to do or live life. Why? Because, well, one, I'm a 5D mystic in the Enlightenment Soul Age group, and as a functional adult, so I didn't lose my inner child. I got lucky with secure attachment. I have a differentiated self. I got lucky with being a inner and outer well-being human being. I would say decent human being is the word that comes to my mind, but I'm also attachment trauma informed. And I know that although trauma doesn't define you, all the attachment trauma therapists have informed me of this, I also know that people engage in risky behavior to keep on feeling alive, and they're not alive. It's called traumatization and them redoing it. Okay, so what I have understood in my 44 years of life and in attachment trauma informational courses, yes, by great people, and then those who spread rumors like yoga brings demons out of you or Reiki is not, energy that is good, yes, stuff like that. So again, woo-woo pseudoscience, because I bring human, spiritual, and spirituality elements together, and I respect the quantitative data. So woo-woo, because I know that sciences, they're not mystics, but I also know spirituality and sciences, they come completely together, because you know what spirituality is? The true spirituality, not the 4D who talk about conspiracies and energy vampires and dark auras. True spirituality, not because there's a truer one or not, but a integrated brain which knows discernment. Also will know this, by the way, it's common sense. Again, decent human being. It's a way of living with meaning and connection beyond the soul itself. So I say decent human being because to me it's common sense that you have a heart, I have a heart. Pacha, Cusco. Okay, so self-empowered women. We're not about gender stereotypes, about what attachment, wound or not wound. So if you want to do life, I'll know. Because you're going to be a person who has an inner child, and that means you're going to be yourself. If you're a teenage version of yourself, I'm going to know that too. I'm not going to lecture you. I'm going to actually not waste my time because you don't want to do life, and you'll share with me that through your emotionally mature mannerisms. And that will mean that you will not use the power of flow to tango, but you will use what I saw Cusco do with Pacha in Cusco land. So we're going to use the story. I think I recently used it already. Basically, Pacha and Cusco shake a hand in the Emperor's New Groove, right? And on this shaking of a hand, Pacha says, don't shake if you don't mean it. I hear women who complain about men, and they talk about men not being trustworthy and humans not being trustworthy, and then I think of, wow, they're all misanthropists. I knew a lot of people who distrusted humankind as a child. Nope, teenager. Child, no. Luckily, as a child, I didn't hear people like that. I was just having fun being a child, but as an adolescent, I learned all about not to take things personally, how people were unkind, and now I know that any unkind person is a person who hasn't gotten their maladaptive child behavior in the forefront. So they don't want to do emotional maturity. In fact, some, they go flaunting around their pathology as if it's fixed in stone instead of continuing to do their good therapy because they've decided that they don't need it anymore. And that's because they think movies like Hangover and People on Elsa's Journey is actually something that means badass. So they think the fucking, drugging, drinking, the self-soothing mechanisms of distraction. So they actually have a way. I've met people. They have a way. They think they're empowered women or men or theys. And what it seems like is when you see a balloon, and I'm trying to describe what I perceive energetically because we're all nervous systems. So I'm picking you up, now energetically speaking, as your inner child, and I'm like, your inner child is doing this. But I'm going to deal with your teenager version. And as the inner child doing this, I've learned how to be able to ignore that because, I feel bad as a divine feminine. I'm like, oh my gosh, that poor child in there. I'm going to reach out. And like Peter Levine describes, people who have trauma, it's like a bird with a wound. And you're saying, I can be here because I'm a safe haven nervous system. So I'm a regulator. I'm not boring. The attachment coaches who tell you that secure attachment is boring, they're misrepresenting what it is to feel like when you're a restorative embodiment. You feel very good. See, to get here though, you need to get through what is emotional disconnect, which I've seen an attachment wounded human being say, I'm going to stay defective because humans are fucked up, so we're all fucked up. Like, no, that's a teenager attitude because that's when I remember teenagers acting like buffoons. That's why I'm going to keep talking about maladaptive child behavior as a teenager. A self-empowered woman not going to come and tell you anything about your risky behavior. No, I'm going to tell you one time, maybe twice. By the time I figure out you don't care about life, I'm going to be knowing that that poor child, nobody's wanting to get beneath the threat zone. Nobody wants to go and get that safety behavior taken care of. So whether it's addictions, whether it's risky behavior, whether it's you ruminating every day and choosing to have me use the word smart with you, or you choose to not use the word smart at all in any way, shape, or form, I know you're not emotionally mature. You're not wanting to get there, and that threat response is something you can take care of with consistent EMDR, child parts work, somatics, because that's you reparenting your inner child. Okay, so I know that you don't have it in you to want to fight for life, which is really getting your inner child with the most beautiful part of every one of us, and more than just that, because emotional maturity is what's beautiful. Okay, so when you meet divine masculines and feminines who are emotionally mature, you're going to know what it's like to meet consciousness. Pure consciousness is what you embody and I embody when you're an integrated brain. And when you're working with the low self-esteem, which is a maladaptive child behavior because your nervous system is in a threat safety behavior. So it's all explainable mathematically as well as in mood swings. When I see people who are trauma bonded, codependent types, when they're the teenager attitude, like I said, it's a teenager, but I'm going to feel the inner child. I'm going to do this. And as Peter Levine presents in one of my courses with him, the bird is going to go in the cave while it's wounded to get eaten by cats. So what that means, lovely human beings, yes, the healthy self-worth nervous system is not boring. It, quote unquote, scares the shit out of the poor. No, it's the 0-1-year-old who didn't get secure attachment. So here comes up. This is why it's painful. So a attachment wounded human being who went to good therapy, who's being told they're doing a good job, and then understands this as, oh, well, we're all fucked up. No, you didn't understand anything. You didn't understand that your 0-1-year-old still is waiting for you to continue to self-regulate. So I'm going to use my lovely, not so lovely panic attacks, but I never really whined with it. Why? Because I am a mystic. Again, I knew what was happening. I still do, and I can equate it to the freeze response, even if I don't want to equate it to mysticism. I have learned about our child parts, and I'm not ashamed of it. And I don't think there's anything to pout about either. So when I see somebody complaining about good advice online, which I've seen, like people vent, but I've also seen it done in my face. As I explained to a human being woman, here's what I do when I work with my panic attacks and they're with their tone irritated at me. Because again, this is where I know your body language, because I know my body language and because I can hear you. But what I know and learned as a teenager is that no person is going to say, yeah, I am getting upset. Why am I getting upset at you? That's called projection. It's your low self-esteem. So I know the right silence, because Pacha ain't going to try to make you do life. You do whatever you want. I know I'm not on Elsa's journey. And I know that it's not some small feat. It's not some big, there is no comparing. The fact that people want to say, I have a cross to bear because I have Claire's, I feel deeper, it is very disrespectful to those who have trauma from abuse and neglect. Because the part is, you don't know what it's like to be in that body. No matter how many times I have to hear somebody with Claire say, I'm special and anointed, I'm like, no, you're a 4D person. You're not special and anointed, and you actually don't even bother with getting your own body into what is a secure attachment. So your inner child is doing just as much as, let me out, as any other person. And that's what a divine feminine will actually perceive with attachment trauma information, is that they have people who are not emotionally mature. They got a teenager attitude. 3-year-old screaming bloody murder. I can't say anything because you're an adaptive child anyways. You're not going to hear a word that I'm speaking. Plus, I don't have proof because your projection is implicit bias from your 0-1 and then your 2 and 3, and you're taking out, quote unquote, your unfinished business. And I'm not going to say this is your unfinished business because I'm not a codependent human being. I'm not seeking to be your therapist. I'm not seeking to be your mother, father. I'm not seeking to do any of it. I'm not seeking to be a know-it-all. I just know educational information. I'm seeking to share with you if you're open to it. By the way, there are people who are, and that's where it's really nice when people are that. So we use our time with people who are, I want my inner child to be a part of my life, and I want you to be a part of my life, and I will notice if I'm in my threat and safety behavior response because I want to grow intimate with you. It's a very straightforward equation, by the way. Nobody struggles it. The people who struggle, it's not a struggle. They actually always have some story to tell you about why it's okay to walk around like Pinocchio with ears and a tail and be Cusco, like Cusco does with Pacha. That's exactly how those who defend and protect their high risk inner shame cycle, critic, teenage attitude, which they then want to make it look like they're cool. And I'm like, you weren't cool to me, a grown human being that was emotionally grown, as an adolescent. I learned that you were low self-esteem. Now I know you're confirmed low self-esteem, and your 16-year-old is not your higher self. For the people who think Claire's is what makes them a mystic. And so the charges, they're very straightforward. When you are in equanimity, it means you can have bilateral integration. And so you know, oh, I got dislikes and likes. Oh, I got thoughts. Shut up. Okay, can I handle this? Yes. Do I not? Do I have overwhelming? Do I have heartbreak, gut wrench? Okay, good therapy. EMDR, child parts work. And I'm going to go and continue also somatics and find out where the empowering information is. Okay, so we won't waste time with people who don't want to do and live life, because it's very straightforward in 2024. There's a lot of good information. There's also, yes, a lot of misinformation, disinformation. Yeah, like yoga, it don't bring no demon out of you. Yet you go try telling that to the people who want to say, no, no, my belief system is the truth. Go tell people Reiki doesn't have anything to do with demons. Tarot doesn't. Akashic Records doesn't. Okay, so I'm just saying, it's a community that we build. It's not special powers, by the way, spirituality, mystics. So 5D is over here. For those of you who want to join, we are supporting the expansion of human consciousness because it's here. And self-empowered women know that no person, man, woman, or they, is trying on purpose to be mean. This is called their maladaptive child. So they're not conscious of it, and they all get surrounded by good therapists for them, those of us who care. And when we are dealing with their projection, we're not going to lecture them. We're going to keep on accepting, loving, and respecting each other's space and healthy boundaries, and we're going to use time with the ones who want to do life, and they in fact welcome us and they let us meet their inner child. And you'll always know that because it's a bond that gets really a lot more beautiful. So tune in for those episodes. We're going to continue. I have to go now, but yes, divine masculines and divine feminines, you heard about the episode Healthy Self-Worth. So we don't have sagas or dramas with our twin flames or our oversoul. We have some channel guidance tomorrow, and I'm going to do maybe one more episode today. But for now, please remember to be compassionate. As for those who don't do emotional lifting, there's great therapists out there that support to get their names out. I have plenty of names. If you want, reach out. Have a great day.